just obviously disappointing loss in San Angelo. Just take us through what kind of didn't go right for the team and what you guys need to improve on going into week 3.
Well, it started off all right. We got 3 and out, got the ball back, offense went down and scored, and had some opportunities to increase the score, and couldn't capitalize, getting the ball in the end zone, so we ended up kicking a field goal. Ended up just going wide right. Thought he kicked the ball well, just off target. There's plenty of distance. And then it kind of all went downhill, and they just physically beat us. I mean, they just controlled the line of scrimmage on both offensive and defensive lines, and hit us in the mouth, and we didn't respond at all. So still, as bad as we were physically beat, there was still an opportunity for us to have a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. We were down 21 to kick another field goal down 21 to 10. They threw a couple of trick plays at us, and one we had covered, and just weren't able to plant our foot and go and make a play. And even credit to them, they had a plan and they stuck to their plan, and they were physical and ran the ball on us. And we had some trying to get our scheme figured out and how we wanted to stop that. The way they were doing it just start snowballing. That's the worst thing that can happen. From a defensive standpoint, when a team can just run at will on you, then you just feel hopeless and helpless at what you can do. So we try to do that to all the teams, and it got done to us. On the other side of the ball, offensively, we're a step short, or underthrown pass away from. Nick throws one down to Chase, who's open on the post, and kind of underthrows it. Chase has to slide down and catch it at about the 6-yard line, and we end up getting a field goal out of that instead of put the ball out there, let them run under and score a touchdown. So, I could sit here and say missed opportunities on our part, because they surely were there, but I give more credit to Angelo State and what they did up front, just harassing, Nick when he tried to throw the ball, and some of those protections are. Go on Nick because he's calling out, he calls the wrong protection, slides the line a different way. So it's not all the offensive line, they're doing what the quarterback tells them to do. It's just one of those things. They got hot, they got momentum, and we couldn't, gather it back. I think one of the biggest statistics that bothers me most, especially being a defensive guy, is we don't have any turnovers. We have not forced one turnover on defense, and we're going to have to continue and stress that even more and more to our guys. And we dropped 2 balls that we should have picked. So just the way it went. It was, like I said, it started off pretty good, and then they cranked it up a bit, and we didn't match their intensity. And told the guys after the game, I said, this is going to be. I want to see how we learn from this, because they're going to come here and play in about 3 weeks, and we're going to see what we've learned. So.
Big test this weekend. What positives can you take from this weekend and next weekend?
Positives we can take.
You feel like
I don't know. The positives we can take is we live to fight another day. The sun came up, and as bad as we feel, we got an opportunity to go prove ourselves against an outstanding opponent, a Division I AA opponent. One of those that, I told our guys this morning, you're here because they didn't recruit you. Think about that. You should have a chip on your shoulder. You should want to go prove something. I've been lucky enough to have been in these situations before, and had teams that have gone in and took that challenge and came out successful. I've also been on teams that had played against a smaller opponent team. If you're not ready, they're going to come after you, and hopefully our players will take my advice and put a chip on the shoulder, and let's go prove something.
Specifically for the run defense, what do you think is some things that you guys can work on? Is it run fits? What exactly is it that you guys need to improve on?
Well, the first thing is we're not attacking from a linebacker standpoint. We're sitting there waiting, and when a blocker comes at us, we're trying to find the ball carrier as instead of just running through the block and protecting our gap. So when you start putting your hands out and start looking, they start pushing you back. You start giving ground. In practice today, we worked on just coming downhill and running through and protecting your gap and running through the blocks. With our defense, everybody has a gap, everybody has a job. If you alter your job and you don't stay in your gap, maintain your integrity in your gap, then that's going to open up some gashes. Some other things is we're passive. I mean, we were very soft. I mean, I think they hit us and backed us up, and I kind of felt like that we lost our competitive edge and weren't competing because of how physical they were against us. So, I mean, that's an issue that we're going to face this week, face the following week, and weeks down the line with the type of opponents we're playing. But you have to see that type of thing to get where we're going to get eventually.
Even though you maybe weren't happy with the physical nature of the game, and the fact that you thought you didn't win that battle, you lost by 11 points. You were still in the game in the fourth quarter. Is that maybe one thing you could say that, we didn't play our best, but we stuck in the game, and maybe that's also to build on this week.
I mean, that is a positive to know that in the fourth quarter you have a chance. You're still within striking distance, but you think of the missed opportunities earlier that put you there, like the missed field goal. If we make that field goal, we're down one score and a 2-point conversion instead of trying to get two, so we're not rushing as much when we get the ball like that in the fourth quarter. And, there's not that much of a sense of urgency to, they're bleeding the clock out on us, and instead of going after tackles, we're trying to strip the ball and they get extra yards and get first downs and keep the clock moving. So, I think as bad as we played, we were still in the game, and again, still we're within shot of coming out ahead. But still, it's I give them all the credit. They came out. And, I think we kind of shocked them at first, and they just cranked it up, and we couldn't match their intensity.
What do you contribute that to? Them in the first drive, you guys dominated them 4 for 4 on first, third downs. Like what changed?
I really think that when we missed the field goal, the momentum swung and gave them a shot. We lost the one-on-one battles everywhere. We don't even have a punt return unit. We got a great weapon back there in Tobias, but we can't get anybody to block the gunner. And so Tobias is just fair catching balls. We stressed that this morning. It's like that's a one-on-one competition, and we haven't won that in 2 games. So we've got to get better at that. We've got to find the right people to do that. We've got to come up with a different scheme in order to give Tobias a chance to catch the ball and have success. And that's just one thing. I thought our kickoff return unit did really well. Opened up some lanes, and we hit some lanes. But the bad part about that is they score is when you go on kickoff return. So you got to stop from scoring. I want to have one kickoff return a game and be successful at it. I don't need a bunch of 6 kickoff returns in a game, because that means they're scoring a lot of points. They just beat us. They beat us. And I can sit here and say whatever you want to say, but they beat us. We went behind the woodshed and they left us there.
What does Stephen F. Austin do from the film that you guys have watched, offensive and defensively?
Offensively, they get. I've watched more of the offense. They run out of a pistol formation. They're going to spread you out. A lot of zone, a lot of gap scheme in the run game. They want to hit you quick on the edges with screens, quick screens. They've got a very talented 3 receivers. I believe their tailback. It looked like on film that he injured his knee, a non-contact injury to his knee. I don't know the status of him coming back as yet. But they just put in another one that's just as good. So, it's going to be a challenge, and we know them, their offense. We've competed against that coaching staff. He's got some really good players up there, and it makes it work. And that's a program that's on the rise, I think, in 1AA. I give Colby a lot of credit for as quickly as they have developed that team, and just what they do is they're going to be well coached. We know that they're going to do things the right way, and hopefully we can go in there and bow our neck and stick to the challenge and give them everything we got. You know, if we got a chance in the fourth quarter, then we will take it.
You kind of think they'll be athletically, will it present as big a challenge as the guys have faced all year, as far as what they do on that offensively?
Their athleticism, I would say the next 2 weeks we're going to see probably maybe or well, I'm not going to say that because Angelo State's pretty freaking athletic after watching them play. And you would expect the next two opponents to have more athletic ability because of the level they're at, but it's not always true. So, based on what I see on film, they're a different type of offense than what Angelo runs. Angelo is a physical, pounding type offense. Stephen F. can be that way. They certainly have the players to do that, but we see more of a zone in the pistol matchup type athleticism up front where they're going to move and be able to get outside and reach it and create seams that way.
Local kid, Lawton Reichel, is now a wide receiver for Stephen F. Austin. You had a chance to watch any of them on film?
Who?
Lawton Reichel.
Oh,
Yeah, you know.
My boss's boss.
Just what have you seen from him?
I mean, he's got speed. He's a really good football player. He, we recruited him here as well, and wanted to try to keep him here as much as we could. But it's hard when they dangle that Division I carrot in front of you. I thought that I think he's been very successful there. I think receiver is the spot for him at that level. I think he can be very successful and continue to grow in that position. And we'll have our hands full there because as talented and athletic as he is, they got a couple more that I think are maybe a step faster. Older guys that are one step ahead of him right now that he's